on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
With beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets.
On the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin J. Discussing that heat in the street, and we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got what
All
you need.
alone.
Vitamin J. Ay. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin J, got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin J. Try to run the town. Tell them no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's about smoke, then we talk all of that. From an ounce to a pound. Take it, they biting this now. Cause my drip right up the seat. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds. Cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see they start crumbling now. Mad struck, start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock glitz, know they look how I freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top just to form a warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the game, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Link up with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them bills on the duty. I'm in Stixie, I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. To reload the clip and record the clip is go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me wanna see tuned into that VGP.
Take over the west and the east, and we got just what you need on Vitamin G.
Hello, welcome everyone to episode 220 of the Vitamin G podcast. It is your host, Feral Bizarre, or Feral Gaming, whichever you prefer. And I'm solo. You know, nobody showed up yet. So thank you guys for rocking out with me. Today we got a couple of topics. I wish we had some Sony people here on time. Maybe they're rolling as we do these intros. Shoot, since last saw you, it's been a pretty good week. We got the surprise Xbox showcase that got announced today. We had some PlayStation layoffs that we definitely gonna talk about. Gonna hit on that Spiderman 2 reception. And we're going to go over the Starfield NPD. So far this week, haven't had much time to play much, unfortunately. I did do the Madden stream on, Sunday? Yeah, I did the Madden stream on Sunday before the game. Normally do those between, normally do those between what? Around 9 in the morning, and it goes all the way up to about noon, so about 3-hour stream. Went undefeated. You can catch that primarily on Twitch and Facebook gaming, or Facebook. If that's what you like, just look up the Land of Pharaoh. That's pretty much what I've been up to. I don't want to overlook that Mario Wonder dropped this week, and I believe Sonic dropped this week. Haven't had a chance to play either. Zero won't be here today, so he's probably the only one who's played it on the panel. So I spoke to him today. He's definitely gonna be back to kind of give his perception on that probably next week. I was thinking maybe we get Omar today. But I know he's pushing really hard to finish Spider-Man 2, so he might skip out. But with that being said, I'm not gonna hold you guys up too much. So we are going to start rolling into topics into a second. But before I roll into topics, just want to thank everyone for coming through. If you don't mind, take a second to hit that like button and share this out. Um, so now there has been a lot going on at PlayStation over the past couple weeks. And starting on Friday, or maybe it was either Friday or Saturday, we started seeing that some people on LinkedIn who worked at PlayStation started saying their farewells to the company, letting people know that they were laid off. And then today, David Jaffe, a former Sony employee, creator of God of War, and I believe Twisted Metal, Sunday he kind of put out there that there was some major news coming. And that was that Connie Booth and her team at Visual Arts was let go, unfortunately. But I mean, if you look at her credits, she's been instrumental in a lot of big Sony IPs. She was one of the founders of Guerrilla, apparently, from what I looked at previously. And just from what we've been hearing since the Sony showcase around that time, it just hasn't really been sounding like everything's all that great at PlayStation. We've had the KOTOR game rumored to be canceled, and then those rumors were followed up with the trailers being removed from the internet, YouTube, and the reason was because they lost the licenses. Typically, when you lose the licenses, it's because you're no longer working on that project. So why would you uphold that license? We've heard Factions has gotten canceled. We got the news that Pixel Opus was shutting down. We've heard Naughty Dog in response to Factions being canceled. We've heard that at least 25 developers have been laid off. So there's been a lot of changes. And then on top of that, Jim Ryan being let go or retiring. It's just been a lot. So it's kind of making you wonder what's going on at PlayStation. They have an interim CEO. And it just really, really is concerning. I'm just, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that, guys. Just really makes you wonder what is going on at PlayStation, especially considering that the interim CEO really was never a part of Sony PlayStation. He was a part of big corporate Sony, so he didn't have a heavy hand in gaming. We don't know where Herman Hulst fits into all of this. We haven't seen a new IP or what has been going on at really any of the core studios since this generation has begun. We've gotten Ratchet and Clank from Insomniac. Insomniac's the only one that's really been putting out output. We got Demon's Souls Remake, and that was from a studio that was recently acquired. We got Returnal, that's from a studio that was recently acquired. We got God of War Ragnarok from Santa Monica. We got Horizon Forbidden West from Guerrilla. And we got Gran Turismo 7. So it's not like we haven't gotten any games. But as far as like Sucker Punch, the news that we got on Bend a couple years ago and still not seeing anything from them is a little concerning. You know, basically, we've heard they've been relegated to a support studio and that just recently they've been allowed to work on a new IP. It's just a lot of concerning things that are going on at Sony at the moment. And the concern is really wrapped around uncertainty more than anything else. Just a lot of uncertainty with what's going on there. Typically, what we're used to is hearing about a game years in advance. 1 second. So we're used to hearing about a game years in advance, and at worst, we'll get, some delays along the way. Like God of War Ragnarok, for instance. When they revealed the PlayStation 5, they said that it was coming out in 2021, right? So even though we just got a splash screen, we didn't see anything from the game, we got the news it was coming out in 2021. The game did not come out in 2021. What is it? Horizon Forbidden West. That was also supposed to be a launch window title. That didn't come out in the launch window. But typically, we've seen these games years in advance. So it is interesting that we don't know anything that's going on from really a core studio. Am I concerned? I won't even say slightly anymore. I am very concerned when only one of your studios is really pushing content. Your CEO has been let go, and we really don't know the direction of the company other than that there are 10 live service games in development, some of which have already been canceled. And we just don't really know where Sony is going right now. I mean, we saw Concord, we saw Marathon, and we saw Fair Play. All of those are from recently acquired studios. So all we can really hang our hat on from the typical Sony formula is Wolverine, which I do anticipate being great. Oh, look at who we have here. I am no longer on my own. So
no, I couldn't leave you hanging, but had to get some stuff taken care of.
Okay. I appreciate that. Let me see if I can get back to the grid so we can get like both of us on here. So yeah, Nappy's here. So I would definitely say PlayStation's going through some sort of drought here. We're not gonna go back to intros, so I'm just gonna let Nappy just say what's up, let you know what he's been playing real quick, and he's gonna dive right into this PlayStation topic like he's been here the whole time. So what's going on, Nappy?
What's up, everyone? I'm doing good. I have been playing. Let's see what games. Oh, I played Modern Warfare 2. I'm almost done with my controller reviews. I actually was able to play a little bit of Spiderman 2, which was interesting. Even though I know it's not on PC, my friend played, so I kind of did spoil a little bit for myself. But it wasn't too bad. I actually think the game is good, and I guess you were talking about that's one of the topics you were talking about. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna get to Spider-Man 2. I think that is the second topic.
Okay,
sure.
But got to play a little bit of Spider-Man 2. Got to catch up on my reviews. So my controller review for the FlyDigi Vader 3 is coming out this week, which I'm excited for. I did get another controller that came in the mail by Patron that does not have support yet for the Western audience, so that's fun. Also a little upset that the Scuff controller that recently came out for PC I was going to get, but that turned out not to happen, and now they're sold out, so now I have to wait.
All right.
Ooh,
So
that's fun.
now we're gonna pivot back into the topic. I was pretty much breaking it down to people. I don't know if you heard before you were coming in or if you're just coming in fresh, but Connie Booth, someone who's been with the company for a very long time, has recently been let go. We know about all the other changes that have been going on. We've heard about additional layoffs over the weekend before this studio head and her team apparently got released. And this comes on the heels of Pixel Opus recently shutting down, Naughty Dog letting go of 25 developers, and of course Jim Ryan retiring. So, what are your thoughts, Nappy?
This is sad to hear that you come on. The first thing you hear is that people laying off because this is people's jobs, their livelihoods right here. I don't know if Sony really was having some issues. I mean, I know that they haven't had
I won't say it's
Okay.
issues, but they're calling it's basically being alluded that there's a restructuring taking place. So, to hear that Jim Ryan is suddenly retiring and then a couple weeks later you start hearing about restructuring, it doesn't sound like his
So
retirement is travel related. Just saying.
it sounds, yeah. I mean, it could be a forced retirement. It sounds like that Sony went in a bad direction, and
I won't say a
and I
bad
guess this is
direction,
a
just a new direction. We don't know if it's good or
going a
bad
new
yet.
they're going a new direction, and well, I was saying is that the direction probably from the previous leadership of the previous team was costing Sony a lot of money, and they're like, you know what, it is time to let go. And we're just going to take our L and start anew. I didn't know Jim Ryan got let go. Like, dang, that's
Well, he announced his retirement, and then on top of announcing his retirement, it was effective immediately that he was being removed from his role. The new interim CEO stepped in the beginning of October. He announced his retirement the last week of September. So, it's been some swift changes taking place, and we're kind of hearing about them like as they're taking place. I mean, it's kind of leaking out here and there. Like, we're not getting this big bombshell article from like a what's his name? Can't think of his name. Jason Schreier. We're not getting anything like that. But I mean, if you just look over the past 6 months, it's been a lot going on.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they haven't released any like real exclusive recently, but I mean,
Well,
what wasn't Jim Ryan a part of the market?
Can't say
Weren't they
recently.
part of the? Weren't they like marketing team or something? Because I mean, yeah, recently they came out with Spiderman, but he's part of the like marketing team, right?
Who,
Just to be clear,
the new CEO?
yeah, like
No,
Jim Ryan and
Who, Jim? Were you asking? I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to cut you off.
No, I'm saying like the recent 9 people who were like laid off. Like, what division were they part of in Sony? Do we know?
They are visual arts. She was a senior
Visual.
level. She's a senior level. So like, I don't know if visual arts. They may be like a support studio now, but like she was one of like the founders of like Guerrilla Games. She has like a pretty wide work history. I can look and see what game. Let's see. Let's go to her LinkedIn. It's just gonna say much. So
there's so many unanswered questions with this story. Or like it doesn't give off a lot of details about
she's been associated with.
Oh, dang, Horizon. That's
so Horizon is probably her most recent big game. Let's see.
Let's see. The Last of Us Part 1. They also help with that.
Yeah, she's been around for a lot of.
They say their contract unfortunately came to an end. So what, were they actually employees or were they contractors?
No, she wasn't an employee. She's been there for 34 years.
Like her direction or her maybe Sony is probably honestly weren't making as much money as they thought, and they looked at this a whole section and the other 90 employees off. But I mean, it's really sad, and it sucks that we don't have like a clear answer of why it's happening.
Yeah.
It sounds like that they're Sony's shifting and moving things around to prioritize other topics or goals and so for Sony moving forward. And it sounds like that she's like they looked at her and her division as dead weight, and it was just like, we're gonna chop y'all off. But yeah, it's really unfortunate that when companies do that, because again, people lose their jobs. This is people getting laid off sucks.
Everybody been good to be back. Gaming is great in 2023, at least for me, as I've said many times. So still riding out some East 10 Nordics, Chapter 6. And this game is
We're gonna dive right into the topic because I don't like to waste people's time. You know what I'm saying? People have been here for a minute. So with Connie Booth being let go, along with her team and a bunch of other people on LinkedIn saying their goodbyes to Sony, letting us know that they've been laid off, along with Pixel Opus closing recently, Naughty Dog shutting down factions as a rumor, along with 25 Naughty Dog employees being let go, all multi-Kofi. How you feeling about it?
So I generally am feeling very neutral about it, because if we're talking about things that personally disappoint me, those things already happened. It probably the last one that probably disappointed me the most was Pixel Opus's closing. But I mean, we could talk about Studio Japan closing. That was, um, pretty much pissed. I think some of the talent that was let go that are still working on creative works, I would have rather them focus on what they want to do as well as contribute to the great IPs they had built within PlayStation. That's just personally me being selfish, but the restructuring going on at Naughty Dog, the restructuring going on at Gorilla, the restructuring going on just at the top with Jim leaving, and then like you said, the multiplayer games, um, 5 years have not disappointed. Right,
They
I'd
have not.
love. They have not. No, I'm talking about the products
Yeah,
specifically have not disappointed me.
they definitely
So
haven't.
my
Yeah,
so
I'm agreeing
my
with you.
my end user experience, it's changed because I don't have a Studio Japan game. It's changed because I probably will never see a Pixel Opus, successor to whatever they were going to make. But right now, um, three studios. They're large, and since they're racing game devs, we don't really talk about them. But I'm sure there's been lots of changes that gone on under. Um, oh man, I'm forgetting his name. So I, I I don't know if I should be talking about disappointment when Guerrilla Games last game. Yeah, that's 118 hours of my time that I love, and I still haven't finished that. And I got the platinum in the second game, but I didn't finish Burning Shores
I don't think
just
it.
because of
Yeah,
cavalcade of games coming out.
I don't think you
But
should be
down the road,
disappointed at
if
all.
right, yeah, I mean maybe I need to be, but I can't say. I know I said maybe last time that I respect Jim Ryan. I didn't necessarily like some of his publicly known opinions of older PlayStation titles, but I definitely respect that he was aiming for a specific goal, and that he, in my uh, construed opinion, that I think he boosted up studios in Europe. It's good or bad. I don't necessarily feel worried. I still want some things to happen, but these on whether I'm gonna get my specifically niche needs or will lose out on some of the fun I've had in the last 2 years. I'll say last 2 years. So, oh yeah,
Yeah,
but no, and Nappy brings up a good point though. Like, I really do hope that Connie, I would suspect if Connie has any sort of like pay from a leadership role after you leave something as big as Sony, it's usually huge. I mean, the guy who left the date Jaffe and Jaffe as well. Also did mention that the other 9 or maybe even more employees that may not have such fortunate.
90.
Oh, I'm sorry, 90.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, chances are they don't have the same type of pay as they are laid off. So,
I mean,
yeah,
whether she starts her own studio or I think she, if anything, she ends up at a big place like maybe Microsoft or uh, Rockstar or something like that. I would assume she would end up somewhere big, still working on AAA games or like kind of letting you know that 60% of their budget is going towards um live service gas type titles along with these restructures, a just a lack of information regarding what exactly you're going to be getting from one of the core studios in the next 2 to 3 years outside of Wolverine. Um,
yeah,
there's no concern there because typically, even though you may not have a title, you'll have an idea of like, oh, this studio is working on, is like a rumor leaks out, they're working on this type of game, or this studio's working on this type of game. Like we got the rumor that, like for instance, on the Xbox side, we got the rumor that People Can Fly is working on an RPG for Xbox, not a first party, but then we got the Kojima rumor, and then we got the rumor that that Arcane is working on this type of new game. Like we're not getting any type of information as far as like, oh, Sucker Punch is working on this. Like we know Bend recently was allowed to work on a new IP, but we don't know what type of game that is either. Like
yeah.
so,
So
does that lack of information kind of concern you? Because typically, like what we're used to from PlayStation is knowing exactly what they're working on, even though the game may not come out for years. Like we'll just get it pushed down the road over and over again, and or you're like you're cool until like you really see the house is burning down.
No, I think it's a really good question. I want to separate concern from my preference. I don't like that they aren't communicating what's down the road. I think what PlayStation wants to do differently or is aiming to I'm trying to map PlayStation's patterns far too many years in advance and then have nothing to show once it's announced. And then maybe there are certain tweaks and changes that make people more critical of the game because they might have overpromised with certain teen range right before Horizon was even out, before Spider-Man made it out. Do you have anything else that you can show besides Second Son or okay, Bloodborne's great, but what else is there?
Hmm?
And my guess is Sucker Punch or Housemark. I think what Housemark's actually one of the more recent ones. They were 2021, I think, March 2021. Housemark, because I think that if their title is not absolutely astronomically larger or a Sucker Punch budget at this point, I think Sucker Punch is probably leveled up with their money allotment. So maybe we'll see something out of them. But um, and I want to speak more about what you said about the live service games. Um, it's true that we don't know if any of them have been asked to do a live service.
Development. We know, well, 10 were in active development at the time that they told us, but we know that
Right.
since some have been canceled.
Right. The
And
goal was 10.
yeah, and we know that that have given you nothing to complain about, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
may not be working on those type of games anymore.
I think I just need to. I would need to see what they're working on for me to get in the realm of being upset. Like, for example, if Sucker Punch is going completely multiplayer with its Tsushima, campaign that has no story, it's just an expansion of their online service, and that's it, right? Because they could stagger releases, right? They could have a multiplayer Tsushima expansion and then do a story. But let's say in some world that I would be disappointed in, they don't. There's no sequel to Jin Sakai. It doesn't even need to be Jin Sakai. It could be somebody else. I honestly would just love another story around late 1200s Japan. That would be fine. I'm totally fine with that. Even if it's paying for a game up front that's multiplayer is different to me than free to play, and we'll just keep adding content based on engagement. Because I feel like there's a commitment by the devs to have a certain level or a certain number of content at release when you're paying your 60, 70 or whatever dollars up front. So I want to be very clear, free to play usually makes me, vomit in my mouth. Multiplayer, like upfront cost for a game, I'll look at the game. I'll definitely consider that much more strongly.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't announced that. That means Horizon 3 is not going to be the type of title I would want to be, based on Horizon 2's technicality, and I should be upset or worried about it right now. I guess to me, I'm always judging this as things, and if I'm overlaying this gen versus last gen, PlayStation's much more efficient, at least giving me new titles. Though they're cross-gen, right? Though Horizon's cross-gen and
Mhm.
Miles Morales is cross-gen. I still have many years into the gen before new software can come out. So now, if we start stumbling with a whole bunch of forced microtransactions in some free-to-play games by Naughty Dog and by Gorilla and by Housemark or something like that, yeah, that's going to be some trash. That's going to be some
Yeah.
straight trash. I definitely don't want that. But PlayStation is always in a situation where fans will quickly steer the ship if PlayStation starts to stumble too much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're just very nasty and vocal when something doesn't go our way.
I don't
So
overreact I will play devil's advocate on this one, and I will say I think that the level of concern should be in the sense of that there is a hard shift into live service. Not saying that the single player games that they come hard ship, like any big business is like a large ship, and anytime the captain of that ship turns that wheel really hard to change the direction, one, it's a little rocky, and two, it takes a lot of time for that ship to just turn. It doesn't happen instantly. So, I don't think there should be a concern in the learning experience, and eventually they'll get there. It'll take time. If it's not an instant success, as long as PlayStation sticks with it and let the developers kind of, what's their name, Rare, when they released Sea of Thieves, I don't think they had much of a live service background. But Xbox stuck with them, and eventually Sea of Thieves blossomed and became this large success. We've seen it with a bunch of other games. No Man's Sky came out kind of rocky. Developers stuck with it. Long term, it's been a success. So I think Sony will kind of have that, but I think the concern is that's what I would say, and I think that's where my only concern would be. Other than that, I means like we don't know what those, because we didn't like get like any type of real formal news. We just got kind of like LinkedIn posts. We're not really sure what all these developers types of games they worked on, what their skill sets were. Were all these developers that were let go, are they some of the new multiplayer focus? So if it's multiplayer focus, how successful is, from what we know right now, games and given the green light of whether they should go through or not based on what we know. So so I think that's kind of where, if anything, that's where your concern would be. But let me kick it to Jubei. He's been very patient. And let's see what his thoughts are. I'm sure he'll tell us that this is the end of PlayStation. So let's hear from Captain Xbox about what his thoughts are about all this going on. Jubei, how you been? You around? Going with on mine.
I can hear him. He's talking.
Yeah.
Did I? Oh, muted by me. How did that happen? Hold on.
Dang, man, you got something wrong with you, babe?
I don't got no problem. Oh, Jubei, here we go. You know what? I muted him last week, and it probably stayed that way because he had a bunch of background noise while you were doing outros. That's probably what happened.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Sorry, you guys can hear me though, right? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna say it's the end of PlayStation. It's strange, but I think it's more so just part of this regime change, um, internally as far as them wanting to focus on live service games and stuff. I mean, they're investing in a new approach. There's going to be costs to that. I mean, it sucks. The people that are getting let go or getting let go, and it kind of I don't fundamentally think that's going to change much at PlayStation, but I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Like, if they continue to do more of the same, like I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, outside of Spiderman, like we don't be hearing them announce like milestones. They're like, okay, you had God of War, like maybe Final Fantasy, but it's like I'm just noticing a decline of them like being like, oh yeah, like this game is selling like so many freaking copies all the time. And I think that's going to continue as they move to live service, because then I think they too are going to go away from like, oh, we sold this many copies. It's going to be how many players are playing their game at some point. And I mean it's a corporation. Shakeups can be good. We kind of have to wait and see what happens with all this. It could be a good thing. But I'm honestly not too worried about it until Sony themselves do something that scares me. Like start releasing games on day one or day one on PC and shit. I think it's still going to be business as usual. Nothing's going to really change besides, they are just no longer employed.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Once again, I am gonna have to rebut on that shakeups can sometimes be good. Yes, they can sometimes be good, but in this instance, I think where the concern comes in, because I do think there's a level of concern that needs to be there, and I think the level of concern that comes in is that Jim Ryan stepped down from his role in October. I know he's scheduled to actually retire in March, which is probably like a milestone month for him that'll probably complete like a certain amount of years. That's probably why he's retiring in March. But this new CEO who came from Sony Corporate never really had anything to do with gaming, and he's the one that's leading this restructure. So, what is he basing this restructure and these layoffs on? Being that this isn't necessarily his line of business that was a focus of his. So I think that's also a bit of a concern, just who is leading the restructure. Because I mean, I can't remember the last time we've heard from like Herman Host or anybody else in Sony leadership. So it's like kind of like who's leading this, who's directing it, where is he, what is he basing the restructure on, and where does he want to have, what kind of state does he want PlayStation to be in at the time that this new CEO finally has the opportunity to take over? Anybody can kick in on that one. But yeah, so I do think right there that's where the restructure concerns lie. But
Yeah, I mean, you're saying it's reasonable to believe that things could get worse before they get better.
I'm not
under
saying
his-
it's reasonable to think that things get worse before they can get better. I mean, I think that's up to everyone's personal opinion, but I do think there's a level of concern because when if you're restructuring, then there's going to be a point of stagnation that's just naturally going to take place until your new structure is in place. Like you're trying to like stay going full speed while a restructure is taking place, and as much as you might like that to be the case, it's kind of hard to drive 60 miles per hour while changing the tire. Like it's there's gonna be a little bit of a halt here and there. So I just think there is a level of concern that should be warranted, but it doesn't mean that you don't trust the company anymore. But it's something worth keeping an eye on. So with that being said, appreciate everyone who's come through so far. Tremble for being active in the chat. If you are here, whether live or just watching us later, please hit that like button. Please share us out. We are about to dive into the next topic. But before that, let me put this timestamp. Spider-Man 2 reception. So we know Spider-Man 2 last time. It was a topic last week. It was sitting at a 91 Metacritic. Since then, I think some reviewer was a D-bag and dropped it with a 70. Today, I definitely don't think the game is a 70. I hate when they do that. But from everything I've heard, the story is fantastic. There are a lot of improvements to the combat. People love the suits and things that are going on. So there's a lot of positive associated with this game. But at the same time, apparently the patch that this game came with on day 0, day 1, whatever they want to call it, has introduced a lot of bugs that even the reviewers like ACG did not encounter on their initial playthrough. And those bugs have been popping up all over the place in different capacities. Not saying everyone who has played the game has experienced these bugs, but social media has been going crazy. We've seen streamers in their live playthrough experience some of these bugs, getting trapped in moving trucks and inside of buildings and freezing, crashes, all types of things. So Um, that being said, um, I'm just going to open the floor, give people their thoughts. And if a reviewer, I guess one of the things that we can say about the reviewers in this process is that just the what's the word I want to say? The 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 way that reviewers critique games seems to vary by who makes the game, in the sense of um a Bethesda game gets hit a little harder when they see a bug, and it actually drops the score down because of their reputation of being a Bugthesda, where I've seen some reviewers say that they encountered limited bugs when they played the game, but it's not mentioned at all in the review period. So I just want to kind of get people's thoughts on that. Nappy, you're a Lions fan?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this weekend. Okay,
You're a
just leave me
Lions
alone.
fan?
I just saw the
My
cup.
family.
I saw the cup.
Okay, yes. But we're not going to talk about this weekend. Okay, just we're not going to this past weekend. Okay, let's get on with the topic.
You didn't go to the game, did you?
No.
All right.
My neighbor went to the game, man. He said it was rough.
No, please,
He's a Lions fan. He's a Lions fan.
Y'all lost
please.
stink. I'm never betting on y'all ever again.
We're gonna stay.
No, but our players were injured. The main one that got all the interception was injured, man.
We'll talk about it after the show. But I saw the cup, and I just couldn't help but ask.
Oh my god, I need to get a different teacup, man. God damn.
But yeah, I'm actually gonna go back to Kofi on this, being that he's a PlayStation guy. One, have you played Spider-Man 2? And 2, what's your thoughts around just all the reception in general? You can take it anywhere you want. It's a very open-ended question. Whether you want to talk about the bugs or just your experience and whatever. Go ahead, take it away.
Really quick, I'll just give quick background. So I had never gotten the platinum for the original Spider-Man game, so I went back and got the platinum for the remaster a day before the release of 2. So I was like very much like humming, like I could use all the skills, I could do all the things. I was playing in the Silver Lining DLC, doing challenge quests and some of those annoying follow the drone challenges.
And the pigeons and all that, yeah.
Yeah, the pitches was okay. Some of those drone challenges just pissed me off, man. And then like Screwball, screw Screwball. If there's any villain that pisses me off, it's Screwball. Okay. Literally everybody, like Taskmaster. I love Taskmaster. I thought he is so cool. In the first Spider-Man game. Okay, so I immediately get the platinum, and I'm doing all this hard stuff. I jump right into 2, and of course we're not talking spoilers, but I'll just say the opening of 2 is really, really bonkers and memorable. I think it's one of those like core memory conversations you have. I often think of God of War 3 and opening up fighting Poseidon as some sort of like ice spider while you're jumping from Titan to Titan. I think that's like definitive one of the, big PlayStation openings that could show the power. Back in 2010, I just thought that was so impressive. Here in Spider-Man 2, I just felt like there was some showing off of how quickly you can move through the city. There was some, of course, there's a fight I'm describing that I won't go into detail on, but I thought that fight was really showing off where the characters could go in this intensity, while at the same time kind of catching you up with what Spider-Man and Spider-Man with what Peter and Miles have been going through, all at the same time. So it's kind of like telling a story in their regular lives, and it's intermixing with them being superheroes all at the same time as this massive action sequence. I thought that was really, really special. Another note I'll add is I did play the entire first like 4 hours offline just with my disc based install. I wanted to see if I could like run into anything weird, textures, even if it was like the smallest thing, right? I didn't see anything that was like immediately jarring. Obviously, like I would see maybe like assets pop in and out when I'm traversing the city at like massive speeds. But overall, I thought it was a very smooth experience. I'm playing on just amazing. I'm playing on, I think it's balanced in terms of like the fidelity versus performance.
Mhm.
Um, so I didn't experience any of those issues. Now, then I switched back to online because I was playing, Remnant 2 or something, and the game did get patched. But I haven't really returned to it because I'm back on East 10 right now. So I haven't really played the patched version or this initial patch of Spider-Man 2 since. But I just say in general, like the gameplay is really, really great. It felt like a beautiful transition. I guess one thing I really like about Spider-Man is that the controls are super intuitive. Coming from something like Remnant and even East 10, sometimes the button controls, like the button mappings for East 10 and Remnant, like drive me crazy. It just, to me, it doesn't work for me. Even Final Fantasy 16 kind of drove me crazy. It's only like Wolong and Spider-Man that feel like the button mappings make sense for my brain. Maybe it's because I'm going between too many action games and I'm just like fumbling over my own brain. So I love how intuitive the new game feels. Obviously, there's like a new way of using your skills. You don't really have like a situation where you're slowing the game down and choosing individual skills anymore. You kind of have it mapped to like a second layer of map buttons for your the skills you want to use, and of course Miles and Peter share a skill tree as well as having their own trees. So I thought all that was really great. Um, yeah. Now so the reason why I brought up the disk-based installs, I did see reports that some people weren't able to install the game from their disk at all,
Oh yeah,
which
that
is
was another issue. Like I think like
yeah,
they said like 30 plus
It was
percent of
it was
discs
stuck at 30%. Actually, some stores have actually taken their physical copies away because they said it was like Russian roulette.
yeah.
yeah. So for people who are going through that, that is absolutely infuriating. I think that PlayStation should. I think they should somehow do their best to remediate that because I don't want the physical disc market to be harmed by this. Uh, from a reputation wise, that makes people want to go all digital. I think for as long as the market is willing to consume physical media, it should be done correctly. Obviously, we know the trend that we're going in, but we aren't there yet, right? There's still people who want to buy discs, like myself. My disc-based install, I had no issues, but like you guys said, there's reports that it's a significant number, over 1%, that it should be much less than. Um, so I feel for those who are going through that.
I would
Um,
propose that that if you bought the base version at least, when you call PlayStation, they should upgrade you to the digital deluxe version of the game if you ran
Yeah,
into that issue.
it was crazy. It was crazy. Some people said that they installed the game. It even said 100%. Once you get to like that 30% mark, game just crashed, and I was like, wow.
yeah,
They even got a
that's
whole Reddit thing built up. I was like, well, I guess don't get a disc. More
Yeah.
reason.
that's infuriating, and it sounds like you can't even if there was a patch deployed, I'm not sure what the solution would be. It might have to be some sort of hardware firmware update to tackle that, or like you said, just trade in the disk. It could just be on the disk. I'm sure they know now, and they're shooting
I mean, the
somebody.
only way the only way they would know is if they actually went to the store and like bought like 30 copies and like got one of the broken
Yeah.
ones. That would be the
Oh,
only way.
but I'm sure somebody damage controlling at this point.
Yeah, you
Not that
got
it's
to. You
going.
got to for sure.
Yeah, you got to. Um. So yeah, I guess that's my thoughts. I mean, like some of the things I just saw, um, you know, in the story so far, some of the mechanics in the game, but I'm just really, really like happy. Like sometimes I'll get to a sequel and I'll be like, oh, it might drag a little bit. That is not the case with this. Somebody said on Twitter, I felt this. Playing Spider-Man 2 almost feels like the first time you played Uncharted 2 after departing from Uncharted. It does kind of have that feel where you're just like all smiles, can't wait to jump back in. Even the first chapter makes you go, wow. And that's how I'm feeling. So I'm definitely excited to get through the rest, but pretty blind right now. I haven't seen anything, and opening was really cool. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right. And no thoughts on just the bugs or anything like that that you've seen so far?
Um, Yeah, like I said, so I saw like personally, I saw maybe some pop in that was a little bit jarring in like the high speed, high action sequence stuff where I'm like, without spoiling, like traveling really fast between like many buildings,
Mhm.
and then like colliding with explosions and stuff like that. But it didn't. I would say it wasn't one of those things where I go like, wow, like I really just want to wait for a patch. It's still presented to me in a very impressive type manner. So um, I don't have any other like weird things, where I have to like scum save or get soft locked or something like this.
Yeah.
So I'm continuing on, and yeah, just hoping that it continues to be at least as good as I've seen before. Seen so far.
Now, and I guess my final question I want to ask you, and it comes down to the reviewers. As a reviewer, I'm not saying that you have to deduct a game for having bugs. I think that's kind of up to you. Um, hey, somebody get in the chat. We got a bot of some sign. Just
Yeah, it looks like that looks like a bot.
yeah. So
And whatever this anime's hink is, that's doing a bunch of threes.
yeah, somebody take care of that. But yeah. So I would say, my question I was gonna ask you is, um, as a person who may read reviews, I know like me and you don't really lean on reviews too heavily. Um, but being one of those people, um, do you think it is the responsibility of a reviewer to, regardless of whether the bugs are to the point that they cause you to drop the score of the game or not, do you think though, like information that you encountered a bug or the type of bugs that you've encountered and whether you find them to be serious or not should be in your review? Um, and then like if you have encountered these bugs, like I have received update that these bugs, like most of these bugs will be patched before the game comes out, or basically to that nature, like letting the readers know your full experience. Basically, do you think um a reviewer should give you that information?
I think um, I value when a developer, I'm sorry, when a reviewer gives me that information. Like for example, and it varies on different degrees. Like let's say it's somebody like Skill Up. I don't usually use Skill Up as my baseline for him being in line with my values of a great game. So the more information he gives me, I'm gonna appreciate that. If he just came out and said, for example, he had a glowing preview of the game me and Dante are really excited for. Called Mercenaries 2, Warhammer, right? The,
Mm-hmm.
Space Marine 2. But he gave a really glowing review. But I don't really like Skill Up's great, he's cool, but I don't really go to him for like, okay, my guy online reviewed it and I love it because he says he loves it. So I would want more information. I would want him to tell me more about bugs because he didn't talk about bugs at all. Of course, it's a preview build, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just using it as an example of something that he really loved. Um, but if I'm listening to somebody like Derek RPG, he's somebody who has a lot of reviews that are in line with mine. Even if he omits bugs, I'll probably know that I'll love the game, even if he doesn't mention it. I might have to go look elsewhere because I usually look at multiple reviews for titles that I'm very interested in, but don't know a lot about. Um, but I don't necessarily need it if I know that Derek's going to touch on the things that are of most value. Like for example, like East 9, it's basically my favorite East game. But that game was very, very glitchy on PS4 when it originally released in Japan in 2019. Like we got a much lesser version than the launch in the Americas. I think it was like 18 months later. But I stuck with it because it was patched and patched and patched, and then the PS5 patch really made it a whole lot better of a game. Um, and I guess my memories aren't so much around the bugs. It was more around the storytelling and the exploration and character interactions, and discovery. So I think that's it's subjective to the type of genre I'm listening to.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think that's the key thing. They can omit, bugs. Um, so you had mentioned Starfield, right? Starfield might have gotten uh a lot of interesting reviews, right? They might have gotten like reviews that said this is the least amount of bugs I've ever played from Bethesda.
Yeah.
Um, and then also another reviewer that would say this is the same level of AI that I don't want in my game. But I guess one thing that I guess I noticed for Starfield reviews is most of the criticisms were more around design and feeling like exploration or certain expectations were set for exploration and them not being what was set as an expectation. But that storytelling and like the long term gain that you get from all of your travels is really great. But it just felt less dense compared to some of these other super buggy games like Oblivion or Skyrim that came out and had. I think they had their own issues, but because of the density and some of the I think familiar treading that Bethesda was doing with those titles, those are heralded as generational titles.
Yeah.
And I don't know where Starfield lands right now. I'm not saying it's not generational. I just don't know where it lands. I think we'll know in 5 years. Um, but anyway, yeah, I think it's just a unique situation where Bethesda did something different, and maybe that game will be something much different from now. 18 months from now. Um, like I'm thinking of like Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk is just completely different now. Apparently, it's like a great game. So
Yeah.
it's
So
not over for them. So anyway, go ahead.
I think this isn't a Starfield topic, so I'm gonna be quick on it. But I think when the term game of a generation is used, I don't think what is meant is that this game is going to be the best game that launches this generation, or that this is going to be the best game that launches this year. Game of the generation simply implies that a generation from now, people will still be playing Starfield in mass. The same way, like Elder Scrolls was a game of a generation because a generation later, people are still playing it. Um, and I think that's what they mean by that term. When they say it's the game of the generation, they're talking about from us. This is our game of the generation. That's what I would say that means. To everyone listening. I'm not really preaching this to Kofi, but I'm just saying in general, the game of the generation talk. A lot of people kind of use that as like console war fodder, and not really like what the developer means. But back on to Spider-Man. I am going to go to the guy who has to look outside the window and watch his friends play Spider-Man, and that person is none other than Nappy, because he will only play it when it comes to PC. So as that individual, Nappy, who has to stand out the window and watch Patrick and watch Patrick and is his name?
And SpongeBob.
And SpongeBob just run around and have this amazing time. How you feeling? How you feeling about Spider-Man? This reception, seeing the bugs, all that. Open-ended question. Fire away.
Okay, so I did have a very limited experience with Spider-Man 2, thanks to a friend who got it copped it on PlayStation 5, was able to play for a little bit. Also, I did watch a YouTube video because I'm a PC gamer. I kind of want to see like the graphic comparisons. I will say that everyone compares it to the definitive edition of Spider-Man, which came out on the PlayStation 5, I believe,
or the
Master Edition.
The remaster.
Yeah, the remaster
came out on PlayStation 5.
Yes, everyone's comparing it to the remaster, and what I have noticed is that basically, overall, they did take advantage of the PlayStation 5 as far as updated hardware. They definitely have a lot more denser cities. New York actually looks like New York. There is a lot more cars compared to the original game, but a lot less people, but a lot more clothing variety. I've noticed like not everyone's
cars in the remaster.
No, talking about the in Spider-Man 2 compared to
I'm saying I agree.
remake.
I'm just thinking back. I'm like, yeah, there was no cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they so base Yeah, so again, the ray tracer performance at all settings is actually very impressive. I do notice that and this is something I even noticed before I even watched like a comparison, is that the range of rendering from a distance is actually lower in Spider-Man 2 compared to 1. But in close up, their rendering details actually improve close up and 2 rather than 1. So it looks like they did some compromises, but overall it paid off. And the game looks honestly to me it looks mostly the same, especially since I played on PC. But it's definitely some upgrades that they were able to do, and I can see some of the compromises they have taken as far as like making the game look better up close and run around the city, taking the processing power of the PlayStation 5 and decided, no, we're going to add more like towns. We're going to make add more cars to the street, like basically make it more lively rather than up the graphics overall. And I think that Insomniac actually did a really very, very good job. Like they did an amazing job with the PlayStation 5's hardware because graphically you can basically say it's the same game, which there's nothing wrong with that. They just made it more lively and improved like graphics, assets, and everything else, which again, great. As far as story wise, it's funny because my friend is actually a Latino Puerto Rican, and he noticed there were some mistakes that he noticed was apparently the Puerto Rican flag, they had the wrong colors and basically looked like a Cuban flag, which it was a small take, whatever. And also apparently they speak Spanglish a little bit. There was some words that they added in there that was not Spanish at all. And he had an idea of what it was, but it was like, it's not like a big deal. But there's just some small gripes he kind of pointed out. He was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. Story wise, from the little bit of story I saw, he actually got pretty far when I was able to touch the game. And I was like, damn, how long have you been playing? He said, I've been playing for 1 day. He basically kind of beelined the storyline, which was it's kind of sad to see. It's kind of sad to see that like Spider-Man 2 is pretty short.
I mean, I feel like the original game is short.
Yeah, but this one's I don't know. I guess it's a little bit longer, but it's still short. The fact that like he played for 1 day, I was there, and he was already damn near at the end. I was like, bro, what the fuck did you do? He's like, man, I just sat in the house played Spider-Man all day. I'm like, damn.
Oh,
he took a Saturday off, and also I did
he beat it yet?
No, he already beat it. We beat it together. I saw it, so I already know what the ending. I was actually able to see some of the interesting part. What they did was they took one of the comics, and I can't actually. I'm not going to spoil it, but I see where they got the inspiration from and how they flipped it and switched it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense of what they did. They did switch some things around, but definitely got the inspirations and all the ideas. Some people think that it's original. Well, my friend thought it was like an original idea, but I had to tell him, oh yeah, this I'm just gonna leave that alone. But story wise, it was pretty good. I think the story is good. Do I think it's game of the year for Spider-Man? I don't know. It's more Spider-Man. That's like the best way to put it. Like, I don't think it deserves like a 9, but I don't think it deserves a 7 either. I think it's like an 8 out of 10. I think it's
I think that's fair.
I think it's like it's a safe sequel. It's safe, I will say. I'm curious to see what they're going to do about the DLC, because you already know the 2 previous Spider-Man games had those three DLCs to expand the story a little bit. So
Sony in general, with every game, every release we've seen recently has come with some sort of DLC later down the pipe.
Yes, that's what I'm curious about, because after seeing the ending of it, I think I know what they're gearing up to do.
I will
it's going to
say
be pretty interesting.
I will say this: I do feel that Insomniac is slightly overworked. I think that they are making up for the lack of output of other studios, and just the turnaround time between Spider-Man Remastered to Spider-Man Miles Morales to Spider-Man 2 has been extremely quick. I mean, they've been pretty much working like with like 3-year dev times. Like they're not getting like the standard 5.
Yeah.
So
I will say though, I'm sorry, go on.
I would say, so if you are expecting a 30-hour main story experience, that's not what you're going to get. I mean, there's a lot of side quests and things you can do to kind of expand your experience, but I mean, with the short dev time that they're given, you're just not going to get a super long main story if you just go point A to point B playing the game. That's just not going to happen. Like, they don't have enough time to really to do that in 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, either way, the story's still good though. I do like the story overall.
You can do it. Like, bro, people tell great stories in 2-3 hours all the time with movies. Like, so it's not impossible to do in a video game. Like, so no one's saying that the story can't be quality within, a 9 to 11 hour window, which is what most people who skip the side quest finish the game. That's kind of the time frame that they're finishing this game in.
He did skip all that. So.
No, he beeline. Like, I'm talking about when he said he beeline. He's like, oh, let's just do one crime. Okay, back to the main quest. I was like, damn.
So if all you
like to do that, and then they'll come back and do everything else. To me, I hate that so much, but a lot of people do that. They'll just finish the game once. Oh, I really liked it, and they'll go back and then do all the quests and the story again. So.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I guess that's his play style. But overall, I do think that it's definitely a big win. The Insomniac did amazing job. Even like you said, if it takes up like back to back to make another Spider-Man game, they did use a lot of reused assets. But Brooklyn, I can notice to probably say is definitely a lot of new assets. So, and they definitely have taken advantage of the PS5 hardware, and also understand that you don't need to graphically upgrade your game to a crazy graphical degree to make everything look realistic. They kind of focus more on assets, making the city more alive, which I think there was an amazing job. And I think that companies need to realize that I can't believe I'm saying this, but you don't need like these crazy good graphics. We are already hit to the point where graphics are like on top tier. And now we got this new software where our hardware can't keep up. And honestly, I don't think we're going to see that hardware take that next leap in graphics until next generation. So,
all right, so I'm going to stand on my soapbox one more time now that you bring that up as the host. Soapbox moment. Stop asking if every new game that comes up is like next generation or something like that. Like, there's some like crazy new design feature that we're supposed to see this generation. Both PlayStation and Xbox made it clear that this generation was mainly about kind of catching up the PCs as far as having a stable 60 frame per second experience. That's mainly what this generation was about. It wasn't about this major graphical leap or anything like that. It was about improving load times, having seamless transitions, and having a stable quality frame rate that targeted 60 frames per second for most quote unquote next generation games. It wasn't like this supposed to be this big leap, like going from Super Nintendo to N64. Like, that's not what this is. So like, I just
hey, some people treat it like that.
Like, but I think when you do that, like, you give a lot of you don't give a lot of these games the credit that they deserve when a great game releases, but you're like, oh, it's not next gen because it's not. Like, no, like the next gen just means that you're gonna have better load times, seamless transitions, much less pop-in, and a stable frame rate. Like, that's what this generation is. And if those things are missing, then yes, it's not a next generation game.
No, this is the first game I've seen ray tracing at 60 consecutively, and it did not drop.
Yeah. So
that is extremely impressive that Insomniac was able to pull that off.
And that is a next generation feature. But other than that, it's not going to be anything crazy with the AI or anything like that. We're not at that point yet in this generation. Like, like how Miles Morales was kind of like a half sequel. I guess you can consider this a half generation because you're not getting all those design features and machine learning and all this that they hyped up. Like, that's not really going to happen. Like, your best bet is just banking on these frame rates. And textures, less pop and all that other stuff.
Alex, I'd rather have Insomniac do what they did than what Square Enix did with Forspoken
Yeah.
and its performance any day.
So
games don't have to be the realest game ever. They just have to play smooth. They have to feel smooth as you're playing it and have a great story and good gameplay.
Yep. Now I'm gonna swing back. I'm gonna swing down and land right here on Captain Puddlegate himself. Jubei. How you feeling about Starfield's not Starfield, Spider-Man's reception? How you feeling?
I've only played the intro sequence.
Okay.
I just got done moving this weekend. So
congrats. Even though I know it's stressful, congrats on the move.
Stressful as hell.
It is.
But yeah, I got through the opening sequence. It's pretty. I didn't have any performance hiccups or anything. As far as
we know if you had them, you would be the first to post them on Twitter and talk your shit. We know.
Dragging you through the mud. Of course I would. But it's still just I agree with Nappy. It's safe. It's like super familiar, you know. If you played any of the other ones, it was just, you know, just like, hey, it's a continuation of everything that went well in the other ones, you know, so far. Yeah. And to me, that sounds like 8, just because it's just not. It's not pushing, you know. It's not doing anything that Insomniac has been incapable of doing up to this point. You know, it's more of the same. Not that the same is bad. Just more of the same. Just feel safe.
I don't think the game necessarily had to be better, though. I think just the fact that you have Miles Morales and Peter Parker in the same game. It's your very first game where you have 2 Spider-Mans in it. And you combine that with Kraven the Hunter and Venom. I think just the personalities, you know, the star power in this game pushed it to a 90, more so than anything else.
And really quick, just to say, like, the original Spider-Man had a lot of star power, right? I mean, like Sinister Six, that's like one of my favorite storylines.
Yeah, you had a bunch of villains in that game.
You did, but I mean, nothing beats Venom. Like,
I agree.
So it's like, you know, and then
I think
Miles
was good.
Miles is more popular than he's ever been. Also.
That's true.
So
that is he has been in the spotlight thanks to movies and everything.
So you know, when you add that in, like you gotta recognize the impact that has. Definitely. So that's what I would say. But yeah, I don't think the game is quite a 90. I think, you know, from what I've seen, it would fall in the 80s. I think if you are going to drop it to a 70, which I don't necessarily think is fair, but I think if you are going to do it, your reason for dropping it to a 70 should probably revolve around it lacking like a new game plus, and like mission select. I think you could kind of drop it a couple points for that. So if you had it at like at 82 or a flat 80, and then those features missing drops it a couple points, maybe it lands at like a 77 for you, a 77 to an 80 for you if you're gonna dock it for those things. But I would say it would fall in line with from what I've seen so far, it would fall in line with the other Spider-Mans as far as rating. I know it rated higher, and I think the star power had a lot to do with it. But yeah, any other thoughts, Jubei?
Yeah, I don't think it's a 7 by any means. I think that's kind of crap. But yeah, I'm kind of over reviews at this point. Like, I'm just if I want to play something, I'm gonna play it.
My issue with reviews is that I feel like, all right, so I feel like when we were growing up, the reviews were a little bit more genuine because gaming was kind of new to all of us, you know. So I think at that time, a lot of gamers weren't necessarily taking sides. But I think as people have grown up, they've, you know, naturally they became fans of this platform over this platform. And I think those kind of biases have formed over time. And whether you mean to be a fanboy or not, I think they do kind of show up in your reviews because you're just like you got to recognize that the people who are reviewing these games are no different than you and I. They have the same conversations about video games that you and I have. They talk shit the same way about games that you and I do. They just don't do it publicly, but they have their own group of friends. They have their own party chats, and they have their own experiences, and those experiences shape how they review a game. Like they're no different than us. They're not like they're no greater authority on gaming than anyone else. It's just their opinion. For anything, you might play and beat more games a year than half of these reviewers, more than half. So,
well, I mean, it's their job. It's kind of their job as journalists. They kind of just play a game and they move on to the next one. They don't really. I think that's like the downside of being like a game journalist and like reviewing games is just you basically did what my friend did. You beeline the storyline. And like maybe that's where like some people will like refer to YouTubers who all they do is play video games for a living, so they can get more of a natural experience. But a lot of these journalists, they don't get that natural like progression of playing games. They just beeline a game and then they just make a review.
Yeah, that is the case too. And I think they're they do have certain external pressures that a certain YouTuber may not have. When you're working for a certain company or if you work for one of the PlayStation based websites, I can't think of any, like PlayStation Lifestyle, whatever. I'm sure there's a certain pressure to give the game a more favorable review if it comes from first party. I'm sure that those pressures exist naturally. Like I'm sure the same thing for if you work at Xbox Era, there's a certain pressure. Like you I don't give a fuck what Sea of Thieves state came out in. You better not give it no less than a 70. I'm sure they didn't hit Redfall with a 60. So I'm sure that those are factors too. They have internal factors as far as being a fan and forming their own biases, and depending on who you work for, you have external pressure as well. I'm sure all of that exists.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we got to be realistic and not act like these external pressures don't exist either. Like it's all a factor, but I think it all evens out. That's the whole point of Meta and Open Critic, is that at the end of the day, all these of what the perception or what the reception, there's biases, as you can see. So let's move on to topic 3. I'm sure this topic will make Jubei a little giddy. Let's see. Go with an even. All right. And topic 3 of the day: Starfield wins NPD for September. So there was a lot of talk around the release of Starfield when Starfield first announced that they had like 6 million players week 1. What does that mean towards sales? Blase, blase, blah. Well, I think it's Matt Priscilla. He's one of the people that track game sales, and he released NPD info. NPD charted Starfield as the best-selling game for the month of September, beating games like Madden and NBA 2K, Final Fantasy 16, a bunch of games. So I can't think of everything that released in September, but it was a bunch of games that released in September. Heavy month of games, but it beat all of them, number 1. And as far as year to date, Starfield sits 1 month in at number 7 year to date in sales. So that's pretty favorable. We've also got to factor in the Game Pass success. Matt Priscilla made it known that a lot of the sales did come from PC, which is not surprising. Bethesda games have always performed very well on PC.
Not this one.
It seems to be sales-wise. It seems to be performing well on PC.
Oh yeah, okay. Sales.
We're talking purely sales here. We know that the PC community, their part-time job is fixing Bethesda games or making them what they are supposed to be. So
I don't think they could do it. Not with this one. It's difficult, man.
Well, we'll get your take on a second. We'll let you kick it off as a PC player. But the most interesting thing about this is that we are going through this experiment of kind of seeing where game sales fit when it comes to blockbuster AAA games and being in subscription services at the same time. And this is basically, I guess we could say this is the first blockbuster AAA. I wouldn't say it's the first because we've had Halo and Starfield, but I guess being that it's we have Halo and Forza Horizon, but being that Bethesda is the new shiny purchase, this is like the big game that launched in Game Pass, and it's had this success. So it kind of raises eyebrows towards people. So Jubei, I already said I'm gonna kick it off with Nappy since he kind of let his thoughts be known. Captain Xbox is gonna have to wait. Nappy, how do you feel about the reception around Starfield? How do you feel about, seeing that, this game had such great sales, you yourself being a PC Game Pass subscriber, so you having the opportunity to, get it via Game Pass, or, be a Steam whore and buy it through the Steam store, and however you, like to partake in your games. How you feeling about all this?
I have to say that Todd Howard is the best used car salesman I've ever heard in my life as of recent times. I don't know how he does it, but I do think that one of the main reasons why, like, besides the Bethesda name, I think he does a really, really good job at selling. I mean, like, with the Fallout 76, he sold that and had so many copies sold, it was ridiculous. And then he just did the used car salesman thing with 1,000 planets or something, and we just all just like we know you were bullshitting us, but we still bought it because like, damn. Like, I don't know what it is. I think Todd, like, besides it being on Game Pass, which made it accessible for a lot of people on the Series X and Series S, and also for PC players and people who want to stream the game on like cloud streaming. So a lot of people got their hands on Bethesda's next like original IP title.
Mm-hmm.
A combination of, I do think the game is like good, but I do think Todd Howard, goddamn, he's like a used car salesman. Like, honestly, like he I don't know if it's Bethesda name or if it's him, but he's, every time he comes out with something, it's just some reason I feel like I'm like, oh, I get excited for some reason about buying it. I need to I can't listen to Todd. I can't listen to him. But even though I think the biggest thing is that it was Bethesda's new IP, and Bethesda, and it was like everyone was excited because we all are itching for like Elder Scrolls 6 or a new Fallout, but that we're not going to get anytime soon. So the fact that we got this, we thought it was going to be like something game changer. I will admit though that this is the less buggiest game, but it also at the same time that creation engine, like
Creation Engine 2, they built a new engine for this game.
There's no fucking way in hell. No fucking way in hell. The assets from the original one still can work on this one. So that the fact that
it's
people are using
2.0,
same,
so I'm guessing 1.0 stuff will still work on 2.0. Like kind of like Unreal 4 stuff works on Unreal 5.
It's no. I mean, it's just like I said, he's a used car salesman pitch, man. God damn. The game is just it's the mechanic, the stuff is just outdated. I mean, for what it did, it's amazing for what it did, but it was like the first thing when I played the game, like everyone got on my case that I was like, yo, like my immersion was immediately broken with all the menus and the screens that I had to click on. And people got on my case, and I was like, man, when I was playing No Man's Skies, I could just get on my ship, fly to a planet, light speed to another planet. That shit was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I do it with Starfield? And people got on my case about that. I was like, no, you should not compare it. This is a dumb comparison. I'm like, it's a space game. And don't get me wrong, space games are really hard to do because it's like endless possibilities. Or there's like it's really hard to keep you in that immersion when it comes to a space game.
So
But
I would argue against you with the whole No Man's Sky comparison, in the sense that Todd Howard has made a design choice that every damn object in Starfield must be a object that you can physically interact with within the game. And
okay, can you interact with the sun?
I mean, no, because that would burn you alive. I mean, it has its limitations, of course. But it's much more than anything that No Man's Sky or most other games will allow you to interact with in an environment.
No, I'll argue with that. No Man's Sky allows you can fly in and out of planets freely. You can light speed to planets and sit there.
No, I'm talking about just all the objects that you can interact with. Like everything is interactable with in Starfield.
I think No Man's Sky can give Starfield a good run for his money on that point. I actually disagree with that. I can land anywhere on the planet and leave something there. That asset is going to be there. I don't have to generate a new zone when I land on the planet.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
like I said, not saying that it's a bad game. Like it's like as an RPG wise, like with RPG mechanics and Bethesda stuff, I enjoy it there. The story is okay. The NPCs, like I'm sorry, that creation engine, it's losing its charm. It's losing its charm.
Like I guess the point that I'm making is that their design choice, their engine, like their design choice and how they build their engine, just naturally build certain limitations in. Is kind of the point that I'm making. And I think we can both agree. I think we could both agree on that. So that like they are so enamored with everything that this engine allows you to do that they don't think about I won't say they don't think about they make sacrifices elsewhere. So and those sacrifices either rub you the right way or wrong way. Like you either don't care or you care. So
did you finish it, Nappy?
Yeah, I finished.
Wow.
Are we allowed to do spoilers now? That has been out for a while because
it's only been a month. Don't spoil it for people. I don't care about spoilers, but
okay, I got like 2 playthroughs in, so I'll just say that. And don't like it's like I'm like well, this gets boring fast.
Even at the end?
I did 2 playthroughs, so I basically got to the end twice.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm just like, I will say that the small interactions are fun. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I mean, it's a Bethesda game. I'm going to wait for the mods to come out because I don't know. I just didn't. I mean, the writing was okay, but I didn't really feel like an interaction or feel like a connection with any of the like NPC characters. Or
did you feel that way in Fallout or Skyrim?
Skyrim.
I've always felt that way about any Bethesda game. Name one.
I mean, I will say New Vegas. I actually like New Vegas a lot. That was like one of my favorite ones. Fallout 3.
But New Vegas wasn't made by them.
No, it wasn't. But Fallout 3 also, I kind of felt that, especially like when you're like with your father, and then you're like, oh, I was younger too at the time on my little 360.
Okay, touche.
So yeah, but Skyrim was kind of like you didn't really feel a connection. I just found it hilarious and funny. With Starfield, like it didn't have that like Bethesda charm to it, or maybe it just got old to me. And also, I also understand like why they made some of the design choices where the NPCs actually have like morals. It just kind of sucks now because like you basically can't take any NPC with you if you make certain decisions because they're just going to your own clan is going to hate you. For the love of God, and just randomly leave your party because you're doing bad. So I'm stuck with a goddamn robot and the other NPC character that doesn't.
Well, those same type of choices are things that other people would love, though. I mean,
well, actually, I would say like those things because those things would be in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, your decisions have consequences. Yeah, your decisions have consequences, good or bad.
Yeah, Yeah, but then again, I can't even kill the own crimson. I can't kill my own people. Then, if you want to run off, I can't shoot you in the back of the head. You die for good. Why can't I kill you and shoot you off in the back of the head? Or the famous one that everyone probably got to the point at this, where you randomly get arrested and then you become like an undercover agent. Why the hell can't I kill the main person in charge of the freaking Oh, again, I can't remember what was the name of that little galactic federation that I got pulled into. I was gonna put a bullet in his head and he just got on his knees and fell. He would have died. I'm like, are you serious, man? You can at least let him die. And I guess it's one of those things. Like, I kind of wish that it kind of took inspiration from.
This ain't GTA. This is Starfield.
But they could have done this in more. They did this in Morrowind where you can kill anybody. And you just got the text message saying, the text box that can't pop up after you kill someone important saying, hey, congratulations, you just killed a very important character, so you can no longer progress the story, load up your previous save, or continue down the road of destruction. And I was like, that is awesome. And I'm like, and the thing is, this was a side character with a side story.
Well, you know that this game is going to, like I said, it's their game of the generation. We know that this game is going to evolve over time. This isn't the game you're playing now will not be the same game 3 years from now, and they're going to add content and do all different types of stuff. We just got to see where this game goes over time. But we got to get back on topic. How are you feeling about these NPD sales and kind of what it means, and the whole Game Pass factors and all that stuff?
Like I said, thanks to Game Pass and Todd Howard being the used car salesman that he is, it makes sense.
All right. So we got Nappy's perspective. We are going to kick it down to Kofi. Hopefully, Captain Xbox makes it back, but if he doesn't, we'll keep it rolling. So, what are your thoughts here on just Starfield's NPD success, especially going up against a bunch of heavy hitters this generation? This has been a hell of a year for gaming, probably the best we've maybe ever seen.
Yeah, actually, I definitely have to pay my compliments to them. Obviously, we're riding right off of the hype of Baldur's Gate. That came out, I think, weeks before the release of Starfield. Even though only the PlayStation version was the one released in September. Sorry. I was trying to look up some more data about the NPD rather, but
Yeah,
I just
you can pull the
don't
chart
know.
up. I can't really. I can pull it up on my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're good.
I could pull up Bethesda NPD chart.
But definitely, like I can only respect Bethesda because their community is so staunch. And just like for CD Projekt Red, the PC community comes out in droves, and communities around gaming are something I always respect. Like, I don't necessarily like Warframe, but I love the PC community around Warframe. I've never gotten into Final Fantasy 14, big regret of mine, but I love hearing about the community of Final Fantasy 14. And it stands the same for Fallout and um, you know, even like New Vegas, though, yes, it wasn't made by Bethesda. Though whenever I pick up a controller and play the games, I just don't like it. It just feels clunky, and the characters are not interesting, and the AI is just wired in a weird way that makes me feel like I'm not part of the world.
Okay.
So it is never attached to me, but um, I'm hoping that there are some cool things. Like, I've seen some really cool mods for Skyrim that make it look like almost like an action game. Like, not that Skyrim doesn't have action, but almost like over the top. You can fly and, like, doing this crazy thing. So I can only imagine what Starfield will look like on PC when somebody adds some sort of crazy ray tracing update or some UI and graphics update. So that's going to be cool to see from a technical standpoint.
Yeah.
But like Nappy said, I'm really curious on what the next evolution of their engine will be. I just feel like there's like some really basic things that we've seen other engines do, and Bethesda doesn't want to let go of whatever 2.0 iteration of their engine is now. We still see a lot of like weird character interactions that other games in the space have done a little bit better. But time will tell.
I don't know if they'll upgrade 2.0, but to get to your NPD, I will kick it off with, what is it, September NPD? So
Yeah,
for September, the new games that that we have are, I'm gonna give you the new games first, are Starfield, Mortal Kombat, EA Sports FC 24, formerly known as FIFA, Payday 3, NBA 2K24, and The Crew Motorfest. Those are the new releases that charted in NPD.
Got it.
What's
Okay,
really
I see it.
what's really interesting is that 2 of these titles are day 1 in Game Pass and are also top 5 in NPD for September. And I'll just run through the top 10 for September. Top 10 for September is number 1 Starfield, number 2 Mortal Kombat, number 3 EA Sports FC 24, number 4 Madden, number 5 Payday 3, number 6 NBA 2K24, number 7 The Crew Motorfest, number 8 Armored Core 6, number 9 Hogwarts Legacy, and number 10, surprisingly, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Interesting. No Baldur's Gate 3?
Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios does not provide NPD with any sales data.
Interesting.
So because of that, we are unable to really get a gauge. We can see how well it's sold in the Steam store and where it ranks there. We know that for the month of September,
We know
Baldur's
that
Gate,
PC sales bonkers. We don't know about everything else.
we know that
Yeah.
for the PlayStation Store, Baldur's Gate ranked 20th for the month of September.
Yeah.
That's not really a dollar amount or anything like that, though. So, now for year to date, I'll give you the top 10. The top 10 are Hogwarts Legacy, Tears of the Kingdom, Madden 24, number 3, Diablo 4 at number 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 at number 5, Jedi Survivor at number 6, Starfield at number 7, Mortal Kombat at number 1, Resident Evil 4 at number 9, and MLB The Show at number 10, surprisingly. Notable games.
Are we playing that year to date?
Year to date, yes. Year to date. Some notable titles that I know people in this chat will care about. Final Fantasy 16, year to date, is number 12. Street Fighter 6, year to date, is number 13. Armored Core, year to date, is number 16. Really good for a franchise of that nature. And a game I know that Kofi loves, at least. Remnant 2, 18. And another popular remake, Dead Space, number 19. So those are just some notable ones that I decided to throw out. But yeah, those are the NPD sales for the year and for the month. Anything else you want to add, Kofi? Now that I've given you that information.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll just say is like the legacy of Bethesda. I'm glad to see them come out number 1 so that they can continue to try to do ambitious titles like they're doing. I just wish that they would change many things about their game design. But overall, I think we need gaming communities like theirs, like the FGC, like the racing community, that are all doing things a little bit different and making noise and making impact. So I hope that Elder Scrolls 6 is something that I would want to play. My guess is it may not be, but every time a new not every time a new Elder Scrolls, every time a new Bethesda game comes out, I'm looking very intensely to see if I would enjoy it, and usually it's no, but I always give them that chance. So it'll be that next time too.
Okay.
Used car salesman pitch.
All right. So
No.
now on to our final topic of today, Cap to where he would be able to gloat and kind of talk his shit. So let me get this timestamp. We are at Xbox announced today that they will be having come on. Let me do this. Xbox announced that they will be having a surprise showcase. Looks like that showcase is coming October 25th. I don't have the time in front of me, but I think it's might be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah,
else?
that doesn't surprise me. They did a little sneak trailer thing for Diablo 4 for Game Pass members, which was interesting.
Yeah, they did do that over the weekend where you got to play it, I think only 10 hours. It wasn't like a full weekend pass. You got 10 hours to play it over the weekend. And yeah, so they're having this third party showcase. I don't think they're gonna sneak any first party in there. But it's being marketed as a third party event. Surprise showcase. I made the joke on Twitter and amongst my peers that that Sony fanboys were right about the secret showcase. They were just wrong about which platform will be doing it. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that Xbox had this in the chamber following, what is it, literally a week after the closing of the Activision Blizzard purchase, and coming right off of TwitchCon where they had the fabulous marketing of the Sphere. Sony also had great marketing of the Sphere for Spider-Man 2 there. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you guys to see both advertisements. I think they're both really cool and unique. But yeah, how are we feeling about this this third party showcase going into the holiday season? Starting on the 25th. I am going to kick it off with let's see, it's only two of you guys. Let's go with Kofi. Kofi, how are you feeling about this surprise showcase coming this week?
I only briefly heard about this. So this is a third-party Xbox showcase that's going on for multiple days?
No, it's just on the 25th. I believe it's at
Okay.
1 p.m. EST. I believe. I'll look it up on my phone.
Okay.
Real fast.
I'm not expecting anything major to come out of that announcement. I think that the big bombs, in my opinion, if you're going to have a big bomb with a lot of eyeballs, you're going to wait until Jeff Keighley is on a stage in December. But there could be some really cool indie titles that get announced, and I think we haven't really seen an indie showcase in a few months. And the indie scene is very, very important. I'm not saying that like sarcastically. There's usually something like super impressive about something they're doing. It could also be maybe that Xbox wants to talk about Baldur's Gate coming to Xbox.
I think that might be there.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
might be their opportunity to say like, hey, like this amazing, groundbreaking, incredible multiplayer RPG is finally available everywhere once it comes to Xbox. So
Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna just read this tweet out for you. It'll be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which would be like 1 p.m. Like I said, EST, and they are going to provide updates on partner games like Alan Wake 2, which I thought PlayStation had the marketing for. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, Ark Survival Ascended, the Vin Diesel game, Fast and Furious on dinosaurs, and Dungeons of Hinterberg, and more. That's what the tweet says. So yeah, that's how they're marketing it.
okay, yeah, I think that's going to be some interesting games. I'm sure there might be like a nice little surprise in there. I would love to hear maybe they'll have the announcement for a release date for uh Warhammer Space Marine 2. I just think that game is going to be everything. Like it's going to scratch my Gears of War itch / give me a sequel to Space Marine 1. That would be cool. And I'm sure there's something else that we've forgotten about. Maybe there's some Japanese third-party games that we'll be getting on the Xbox platform that we don't know about. Like for example, Level 5, right? Level 5 had Ni no Kuni 2 on Xbox. Maybe Deca Police and Megata Musashi will come to Xbox in some way, shape, or form because we just haven't heard anything from Level 5. I don't know what's
I
going on with
think
them.
any surprises of Japanese titles, like a major surprise, I think it would come from that new partnership with Square Enix.
Okay. Yeah. So to your point, this one isn't a major surprise because we already know the titles exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But it would be
saying.
nice.
Like Final Fantasy Remake, for instance.
Right.
That would be a
Right. Yeah.
surprise.
Like so, level 5 would be a nice. I mean, I just want updates for level 5. It coming to
I haven't
Xbox. Obviously,
I haven't
so.
heard from Xbox and Level 5 in so long. Like I can't really place an
Nino Kuni
expectation.
2. Nino Kuni 2. And
Yeah,
Nino Kuni 1 came to Game Pass, right?
Nino Kuni 2 came to Game Pass.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like 2
No,
years
but then
ago.
Nino Kuni Remastered. Yeah, no, that was like last year. Right? That was like last December.
It was 2 Tokyo Game Shows ago, I believe.
You're counting in Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
that's when it got announced. It got announced Tokyo Game Show. So it was like 2 Tokyo Game Shows ago.
But when did it actually come out? It didn't come out at the Tokyo Game Show. It was
I think it
afterwards.
did. I think it did come out. I think it dropped the same day. I believe it
Anyway,
did.
I think that would be that. So since then, Level 5 hasn't done much.
Mhm.
So they might do more. With Xbox.
You're just a Level 5 lover. But
I am because they make great games.
No, I'm not saying they don't, but I'm just saying I'm not expecting to hear much.
I think that's a long shot in general. I think it's a long shot in general. But I just want to hear, because the reason I'm holding that out is for some reason they're like, our games are coming out in 2023, and all of us on the internet are like, no, you're not. But maybe an explanation for that would be that they want to announce it on some platform that it's not already announced for. That's the only explanation I have, because they really just need to come out and say it's 2024. But anyway, that's my slight at them.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. I'm gonna swing it back down, and as Spider-Man, I'm gonna swing it back down to Jubei, who reappeared, and I'm gonna give you a double topic.
I had daddy duties, bro.
I understand. I understand. Newborn. That's how it goes. Give you a double topic now. You're gonna get to contribute your thoughts on Starfield's NPD success, and then you'll lead into the Xbox Surprise Showcase. Give us your thoughts on both.
Oh, you're. I'm not surprised at the sales. I mean, the game was pretty freaking big. And it seems like regardless of what the reviews said, it was still a bunch of people playing it, which is all that really matters, to be honest. Seeing like 6 million players at launch was pretty huge. We haven't really been getting like tentpole releases like that, you know what I mean? It's been
outside of one dry year, I would argue otherwise. Outside of like 2022 being, lacking.
like only one company is allowed to lack.
Yeah, that's a story for another day. But go on with your NPD and your showcase talk.
Oh, bless me.
Go ahead, beat your chest.
Oh, sorry, bless me. God damn. Sneezes. I'm good. As far as the showcase, I know it's going to be all third party. It's nice to see that as soon as this Activision deal closes, like the marketing budget magically came around, It's pretty crazy, actually.
I don't think that happened, but you can run with that narrative.
There was zero marketing being done until the deal was closed. Now the deal's closed, they got fucking ads on the Sphere. They released that whole dope ass Series S and X commercial.
Well, the advertising on the Sphere was in collaboration with there being an event. TwitchCon was down there.
Yeah,
so it wasn't random. Like,
no, I'm not saying it was random.
I could assume that advertisement would have been there regardless of ABK. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying them getting ABK is the reason for the marketing. I'm saying that now that the shit is done, it's no longer, it's a done deal. It's done. Their focus is shifting, and now they're back into marketing their damn product, because they haven't been for pretty much the entire time this shit's been going on.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying like, they have more marketing now because of ABK. It's like, no, now they're allocating their budget to that, because they don't, they're not under the burden of red tape anymore. They don't have to look weak like third place.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that you are looking forward to possibly seeing outside of what was announced? Are there any surprises from third party that you are hoping or looking forward to potentially seeing this week? Or
I would like to finally see the release date for Baldur's Gate for Xbox.
okay,
That'd be nice.
yeah,
So I know when I'm going to be spending my money. So, the other thing, I do also want to see some. I know Alan Wake 2 is announced, but that's something I just really want to see more
okay.
of.
Yeah, last time we saw that was Keeley show, right?
Yep.
All right.
And it looked good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to cap. Like, I really enjoyed the first one. This one looks pretty damn good.
Okay.
What else? What else? I know there's not going to be any ABK shit, of course, because there's no point. They're not third party anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think that there will be any surprises from Xbox as far as first party goes?
As
Like,
far
do you
as first
think
party, I mean, they
like
said it's a third party. They said it's like their friends. You know what I mean?
do
I
you
could, I
think
could.
do you think that there's like a possibility, like, that we hear? Because another thing that we saw, one of the people in our community, Gaming Forte, he works at GameStop, and apparently, Call of Duty marketing materials, Xbox Call of Duty marketing materials,
Yep. They're at
are
GameStop.
are in the wild. So
Yep, they sure are.
could while there may not be a new game, could there be a possibility, of them announcing that they have taken the COD marketing rights back, and maybe we think that could be a surprise you would see at this event?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Would that blow your mind? That make you go crazy?
No, I don't think. I'm not going to go that far and say any of that. But
All right.
here I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to say we finally get a release date for Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to Xbox. I say that
Oh,
happens.
okay. All right. I don't think that'll happen. I think Rebirth is gonna get its time in the sun. But I mean, if it does happen, I'll be happy for the Xbox players. I'm already in too deep on PlayStation in that game, so I'll play it again on Xbox, I'm sure. But yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But I have faith. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could.
Yeah, good.
Anything could.
I'm not denying that. And last but not least, someone who's in the Xbox community but is not, quite an Xbox gamer, Nappy. What are your thoughts on this third party showcase? All games come to PC, so
Yeah.
every party's third party for you.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, to be honest. Besides what they recently have announced with Alan Wake and of course Fast and Furious on dinosaurs. Also, I completely forgot that Baldur's Gate 3 did not come on Xbox as of yet. So I was like, oh, wait, y'all didn't get it. not that to be funny, but it's kind of a little messed up. But yeah, I'm really curious of what's going to be announced for the third party showcase. Seeing that maybe that Microsoft may have some extra budgeting for marketing, but for budgets that they can make, saying, "Oh, play our games here on Xbox." I will love for Microsoft to throw some money at some indie titles, because you may get some hidden gems.
Okay.
Honestly, and this can get some hidden gems the spotlight that they need for free out of Microsoft's pockets, because now Microsoft's feeling extra generous because of the ABK deal. So, hey, I'm curious to see what's going to go down. I don't think that we're going to see anything ABK, because again, those are no longer third party; they're first party. But at the same time, part of me feels like they may just slide like one of those ABK titles into this showcase, just because. Even though we know that they're technically first party now, but they're going to. I have a feeling that we may see like an ABK game just in the somehow in the indie in the showcase on the 25th. I don't know why, but I just can sense it.
Okay.
But again, like I said, like Microsoft's feeling generous. They're throwing money. Looks like they're going to show off some indie third-party titles, and I'm excited to see what hidden gems are going to arise from this showcase.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the showcase. Mainly, like I say all the time, like with state of plays and everything, I just really expect it to be a marketing event for the games that they want people to purchase this holiday season.
On their platform.
Yeah. Do I think we see anything that's coming out post holiday? Maybe one or two games. But I think most of the games we see will be holiday window. I don't think there'll be any surprises outside of games that formerly weren't on Xbox coming to Xbox. Like Jubei said, maybe a Final Fantasy VII remake, or like Kofi said, a level 5 game. And maybe some day and date Game Pass announcements for some AA or indie type games. So that's kind of what I would expect. But if anybody else doesn't have anything else to contribute, we can roll into our outros. All right, going once, going twice. We are in outros. Let me just throw this timestamp on really fast for the viewers. Wait, and 50. So we are now in outros, and I am going to let Kofi kick it off. Where can people find you? What you got going on?
Guys, as usual, you can catch me on Twitter, creative_Kofi. So that currently is East 10. I don't think I'm going to have any other game early for the rest of the year, which is kind of like crazy. I will be playing the expansion to the Tales games, but getting the rare physical version of the Beyond the Dawn. So I'll definitely have that later than the actual digital DLC drops, which is worldwide. Playing with everybody else, but looking forward to seeing you all.
We all know
Next
you
week.
buy like so many games that you just check your mailbox and some random imports just already sitting there for you. So who knows?
That's actually pretty true.
I
That's
know.
actually pretty true. Yeah. I've got I do got some other games. Like I've got what's it called arriving? The physical version of Mech. No. Oh shoot, what's it called? It came out on PlayStation 1. And it's remastered. It came out on Switch first. Oh my gosh.
Wait,
Not Mech.
this is,
Shoot, there's 3 of them. Not Armored Core, not Mech Warrior. I am forgetting the game that I ordered. This is crazy. But anyway, I'll let it pass on. Whoever's next. I'll see you guys online.
All right. Kofi out. Jubei, where can people find you off of Baby Time?
Hey yo, you can find me at Jubei X Sensei on gaming platforms, Jubei Sensei everywhere else. You can catch me and Kofi actually this Saturday. What is it, Kofi? 10
9
Eastern?
Pacific. Is it 9 East? I thought it was 11 Eastern.
No, it's 11. I said 9 Pacific.
Oh yeah.
That'd be 8 Pacific. You think it's Central? You're on Central time there.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah, that. Yeah, we'll be on a Smash podcast this weekend. That'll be fun.
Okay.
With our boy Bloody Nux.
Yeah, shout out to Bloody.
Yeah, we'll catch you there.
And last but certainly not least, our only panel member other than I who gets on camera, Nappy. Where can people find you? And what you got going
on? As far as new video games, I honestly am at a weird position where I'm like, I my time too much in the games because I do have like family at the holiday seasons coming around. Family want to get together stuff, so I want to make time for that. But you also can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. Week the Fly Digivator 3 controller review is done, so you can see that this week. Also later on this. And I got sent 2 other controllers from GameSir, the T4 Cyclone controllers. So the black one is like the one that's mainly geared towards Nintendo Switch, but also works on the PC. These are also both Hall effect joystick controllers with low input latencies. So again, PC and Nintendo Switch, some reason got the most Hall effect joystick controllers out of all three of the consoles. As far as new controllers, I was debating if I should get that Scuff PC controller or controllers, but I think I'm maybe leaning a little bit more to the Netcon Revolution 5 because that is the only controller with Hall effect joysticks on the PlayStation 5 that is wireless. So I'm really
All right. And your boy Pharaoh, you can find me on Twitter at Pharaoh Pizzard and anywhere you like to watch streamers at Land of Pharaoh. Typically do a stream on Sundays unless there's a London European game going on at 9 a.m. So that's where you'll find me. I appreciate you guys coming out. Hit that like button. And last but not least, thank you for getting that week